I know a lot of people that have depression, and depression is a topic that's kind of taboo, but slowly being more introduced and talked about.
My name is Martha Verde, and I'm here at our school filming our next scenarios video called Split Persona. Split Persona is a story that was written by one of my students who wanted to bring out the issue of mental illness and how that affects the whole family.
Scenarios USA encourages kids to tell their stories.
It gives a lot of people chances to do what they wouldn't normally get to do, like be on a film set.
They take on issues that are current and impactful for our students, but also for families.
I want to be behind the scenes, filming, editing. I just think it's cool just to see youth perspectives as well.
Volunteer efforts of a lot of people bring those films to schools, independent film festivals, and other places. They also then end up in the classroom as a teaching tool. Split Persona is the story of twin teenagers who have a little sister and a mom with a lot of difficulties around her depression.
So you know someone that has depression, then it affects everyone that person knows, not just that person. So I decided to go ahead and kind of show that from the perspectives of the daughters of a parent.
The story gives us the vantage point of these two young women, particularly Jalissa, and her experience in trying to provide the caregiving that her mom needs to get through this rough time.
That love is so strong, and then throughout the movie it's kind of straining.
The film goes in and out of being like sort of subjective when you're in her head and you're in her world, and then objective when you're sort of back away and watching her differently.
It also sheds light on her sister Carrie's experience of trying to navigate traumas that she's experienced as a result of her mom's mental health issues.
What should they do when they're at like this age of 17? Because that's the tipping point of actually being an adult.
We all deal with trauma differently, and you're seeing it in these two girls and how they're managing.
Teenagers are dealing with a lot of different problems, at home or at school, and we see a lot of students that are struggling with mental health issues.
Basically, I wanted to explore the whole affecting other people, like the family members or friends.
Kids have it difficult as it is being teenagers. They have so many things they're trying to navigate.
Doing prevention work in a high school, it was not uncommon at all for me to see teenagers who were struggling with these very same issues, having to be responsible at home for the care of a parent, for the care of their siblings, having at the same time to have all these adult responsibilities. I liked the script because it seemed like something that a lot of teenagers really do struggle with.
I thought it was very brave of Myra Lee to write a story about mental illness and have it be such a personal story.
This gives our students a voice, and it also raises awareness and educates.
Children might be dealing with parents who have mental health issues, and so they have grown up with it and don't even realize it's an issue.
Typically, when I would see those students, they would always be referred for things like falling asleep in class. It wasn't until I would start to ask questions about, well, what's going on? Why are you falling asleep in class? Then you would start to uncover the real reason behind it.
It's not really talked about the things given up, things that a child or a family member or a friend would have to do for someone that they know that is depressed.
I thought that was a really kind of unique perspective, that anyone can be the caretaker of an ill family member.
It is something that really needs to be addressed, and hopefully this will help a lot more students and families talk about this issue.
People with mental health issues are often stigmatized in a similar way to other disenfranchised minorities. I think it definitely is a social justice issue by that definition.
Kids have it difficult as it is being teenagers. They have so many things they're trying to navigate.
They're in the thick of it.
So we talk a lot about decisions and how they affect others and how they affect us. Talk about people who are what we call upstanders instead of being a bystander. So whether that is something like witnessing bullying and just walking away and not intervening, that would be a bystander. So we ask our students to be upstanders and intervene in those situations or tell an adult.
Mental health has such a negative stigma.
This is a true health issue that requires an address and a support in the same way that other health issues do.
So let's discuss this so we can come up with a solution.
Talk about it because it's unfortunately a taboo topic and it's very misunderstood.
So there's great risk for families and children of parents suffering with mental health issues for them to be unable to have their social, emotional, and educational needs met.
But what surprised me was how frank the story is and how she included details about mental illness, including suicide.
History of suicide within families is a lot like other mental health issues.
It's hard, and it just needs constant constant conversation.
When there are histories of suicidation within a family or individuals who've completed suicide within a family, that increases the risk for other suicides within that family.
One thing that people don't understand is that this is hereditary.
It's at times difficult for us to even ask the question, are you thinking about suicide? But that's a powerful question to ask and an important question to ask when we know someone's suffering deeply with mental health issues.
It is a disease. It is something that is severe. It's not to be afraid of it. It's just to learn about it and know what to do to help it.
Just asking the question, I found, is helpful and opens the door to a dialogue.
A film like this, written by a student, gives voice to all the people who suffer from mental health issues.
It can inspire a person who's going through something similar to just be able to reach out to someone else.
It's been a real privilege to work with scenarios on this project. I think it's a project which has a good narrative and deals with real human emotions, being something that people will learn from and have something that they take away from a project.
There was so much emotion, but it was hidden at the same time. Like, you could feel it, but it wasn't like exactly clear.
There's this really exciting moment when you find an emotional truth that's going on, and it might be like what really happened because they're acting, but it's like coming from their insides and you can really feel it. And I think that that's just been really exciting to be a part of.
You have us young people who can be whoever we want to be, and we can go into politics, we can go into film, we can do acting, so forth and so forth. We're really getting out there and doing what we love. I love how this girl, A, she already is out there doing what she wants to do, B, she can do it.
If you feel like you have a story to tell, write it, draft it out. Like, you don't even have to worry about a perfect edit of it, a perfect draft for it. Just brain jumble all on a page if you need to. If you have a story to tell your story. Don't let anyone say, oh, your story's not good enough, because I can guarantee to you your story's good enough if you feel like it's good enough.
When we invite that conversation and then wait and allow that young person to speak and be heard, that's encouragement in my mind.
As a youth, you can feel connected and not alone.
To have a film that is written by a peer of ours is very inspiring, and to have kids work on such a project can expose them to that source of inspiration.
My hope is that we would see the power that's represented in this story, the power of young people to survive, to demonstrate resiliency, but also the power that we have as a community to recognize suffering in others.
The overall message of the film is the power that love and solidarity has and can have on a family unit.
We are able to see something in someone and recognize it as suffering and act.
Acting proactively to help others.
Get depression talked about.
When we educate young adults, we empower them.
And we need to speak out for them.
We need to act.
If you know someone that's depressed or you're depressed yourself, know that you're not alone. You can find somebody that can help you out.